So, Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everyone, here from Lahore, Islamabad. We are honored and privileged to be joined with guests from Ireland today and very excited to kick off this very first series where students, parents, and educators can ask the experts questions themselves. Ireland boasts some of the best universities in the world and has a first-rate education system. Today, we are going to talk about the programs, tips, and scholarships that would benefit international students in their academic journey. We will have a question and answer session. Please do put your questions in the chat box. I will make sure to ask the moderators at the end of the session. We are joined today by Nick Menon. He is the Education Ireland lead for the Middle East and Africa and is an expert on higher education in Ireland. He works for the Government of Ireland and has mentored thousands of students on the opportunities that education in Ireland presents. We are also joined by Nusrat Bashir, Regional Director, Middle East and Africa, University College Dublin, who is an expert in advising students on studying abroad. UCD is one of the top universities of the world. She has been associated with Study Group, University of York, and University of Bradford, and is also an expert in advising students on studying abroad. Olwen Keating is our commercial and marketing manager for Independent College Ireland. We are privileged to have with us Michael Gavin, who is the Regional Manager Europe, Middle East and Africa from the National College of Ireland. He is an experienced in advising students best options for pursuing international study opportunities. National College of Ireland is a leading private college in Ireland, and Michael is a professional accountant and a fellow member of ACCA. Lastly, but no less, we have with us Afra Sajid. She's a consultant of education in Ireland, Pakistan. Dr. Afra is an alumni of Dublin City University. She has been associated with a number of international organizations, including ACCA and Council. She has worked in over 50 countries. She's a qualified career coach and regularly advises students on best opportunities abroad. So with that, thank you once again to my wonderful panelists, and I would hand over the mic to Nick.
Thank you, Shanza. With that, I'm just going to share my screen. Just is that showing?
Looking good, Nick.
Okay, sorry. Apologies. Technology is not your friend. It's not my friend today, anyway. Okay. Is that showing correctly?
No, Nick, can you go to the presentation mode? Because then your screen will be shown.
Yeah, apologies. I have to.
Or from beginning, maybe that might work.
I did that. Yeah, no, I was sorry. Apologies about this. No, that's doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, it works. It works.
Okay.
Thanks.
So, thank you. Apologies for that. I am many things where a technologist is not one of them. So great to be here today, and my thanks to Shanza for setting this up, and to Afra for the work in connecting with Shanza, I and Ivy, and also the wider Pakistan market. So my name is Nick Marmion. I am manager for Middle East and Africa, based in Ireland, based in Dublin, and I work with the Irish universities to market and create a work within the wider Middle East, including Pakistan and African markets. Recently had the opportunity to be in Pakistan for the first time in about 20 years in February with a delegation of Irish universities, and I have to say it was fantastic to be back in country again. We got a phenomenal response from Pakistani students, and you know, we think there is a very strong opportunity for Pakistani students to consider studying in Ireland. So let me talk a little bit about, because we're trying to be efficient in our timing, about Ireland per se. Okay, so small country, population of 5 million. Your currency is the euro. English speaking, we do have our own Gaelic language, but it's only used by a small proportion of the country and not in daily life. So English is, as I said, the main language, and a member of the European Union since '73. We are a safe country. We're a small country, safe country, and we would rank probably around number 3 in the world in terms of safety and friendliness. That is one of the messages that comes back, particularly from countries outside Europe. For some Muslim countries, they are genuinely impressed by how friendly and safe Ireland is as a location to study. It's also been, you know, these labels about Lonely Planet has told us we're one of the best countries in the world to visit, and you know, generally we do get a lot of tourists coming to Ireland for that both beautiful countryside experience, and then also the culture and friendliness of the people. So Ireland is a small country, as I said, physically and numbers wise. We're right beside the UK. We're that yellow dot in the middle of that slide. We're probably 7 hours flight from Dubai. We would be sort of 9 hours from Lahore or Karachi via London, Paris, Amsterdam, you name it. You can get to Ireland with one stop from most Pakistani cities. We have strong links, historically very strong links with the UK. You know, there are like 400 plus flights a week going from Ireland. It's less than an hour's flight to all UK cities. So strong trade, strong cultural links as well. So I know that a Pakistani links with the UK would be very strong. So again, accessing friends, family, etc. in the UK is fairly straightforward. Our cities are a mixture of modern and old. Some of our cities would be like those within Pakistan, with long year old history, but we cling fairly strongly to our our buildings and our history, and it's a big part of who we are, and how we sort of define the country and what's worth going to see. Some beautiful coastline, beautiful countryside. Mountains aren't particularly high. We rarely get snow. We get a fair amount of rain, but we do have some fairly stunning coastal scenery. And it's all very accessible. I mean, Ireland, you can drive north-south in 4 hours, east-west in 2.5 hours. It really is pretty small as an island. So this is an image. There are a number of these universities which have these kind of iconic quadrangles in the universities. Second, I think after Oxford or Cambridge, I can never remember which one. Irish people would be known for creativity. We have quite a few writers, playwrights, and poets who have become Nobel laureates. W.B. Yeats, George Bernard Shaw. And we tend to kind of bring out in graduates that sort of creativity. We're looking for, you know, people to be innovative, to be critical thinkers, to challenge them in such a way so that they actually develop as students in their time in Irish university. So they actually end up with a competitive edge when they come out of universities. Very strong academic standards. 80% of our universities are actually owned and run by the government, and all are validated for their quality of their degrees by the Irish government. We have a very strong oversight by the government to ensure that qualities of degrees is to a very high standard. While our universities generally are small, we would have 2 that figure in the top 200. However, the university faculties within those universities, the faculties rank higher than average in many cases, and we have some European leading institutions in areas of science and technology. That all Irish qualifications are again recognised on that international framework, the NARIC, so that the qualifications are recognised in Europe and in the USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, etc. So that's an important point for parents and students to note. An awful lot of international companies have chosen Ireland as their bridgehead into Europe. 9 of the top 10 tech companies, 8 of the top 10 pharma, medical device, financial services, a lot of really top class companies in Ireland. This gives you an idea quickly of what part of the world they're coming from. A lot from the USA, a lot of European companies, Chinese companies, Japanese companies have chosen to have their European hub based in Ireland with both manufacturing and service operations there. So about 1,500 companies, separate companies. So these are the kind of companies where students at undergrad will get placement and at postgrad will have post-study work opportunities. Just some of the brand names there, they're all household brand names from around the world. Again, at postgrad level, doctorate level research, again, we are very strongly linked to EU programs and to Horizon and to other, particularly in fields of med device, biopharma, AI, agriculture, Internet of Things, cybersecurity, and so on. So we're very much a hands-on type of sort of R&D environment. It's not just a kind of a taught masters or taught experience. We really have strong links to industry. Broad range costs, tuition costs for non-EU students will range from somewhere between probably about 8 to about 30,000 euro per year, depending on the course of study. You need to be thinking in terms of 15 to 18,000 euro per year for accommodation and living costs. So on average, and that's the average cost for an academic year is going to be probably 25 to 35,000 euro on average. Because currently visas for Pakistan are processed in Ireland, currently there may be some changes in that in the next 24 months. The visa process can take 8 to 12 weeks. So what we say is if you're applying from Ireland, apply early. And for those students who are on the call who are looking at master's programs, that we have quite generous stay back visa options. Once you do a level, if you do an undergrad, you can stay for 1 year. If you do a postgraduate master's, you can stay for 2 years working in many cases with those international companies with operations in Ireland. You know, with Ireland having an unemployment rate of about less than 5% at the moment, the employment prospects for postgraduate students are quite strong. Students can also work in the summertime and also during term time in working in restaurants or so on to get a bit of pocket money. So that's me. I know I've probably gone slightly over time, Shanza, so apologies, but with that, I will hand you back to Shanza and the next presenter. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nick, for setting the context of the education system and Ireland as a country. I would like to now invite Nusrat Bashir to take over the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you again, Shanza and Afra, for organising this session. And what a great way to kick off with Nick's introduction on everything that's wonderful about Ireland. Now, hopefully, I can share with less trouble. Let's see. Hopefully. Is that full screen for everybody?
Yes, yes, yeah, it works.
Amazing. Okay. I'll put a timer on to make sure I stick to the 7 minutes. Okay. So good evening, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Nusrat Bashir. I'm the Regional Director for UCD, University College Dublin. UCD has 5 global centres, one in New York, Delhi, Dubai, which is where I'm based, Kuala Lumpur, and China. So very global in terms of its nature, in terms of recruiting students and partnerships and general engagement in the global community. So the university, UCD, was founded in 1854. It has one of Europe's largest urban campuses. So we are a campus university, everything from accommodation, teaching, everything pretty much from studying, living, enjoying, having a great time is all on a self-contained campus just to the south of Dublin, and about 10-15 minutes away from the city centre. So everything is self-contained. We continue to invest in the university's facilities and infrastructure. We've already invested in over 1 billion in campus development. The university is ranked in the top 1% in the world, which is in the top 200. We have over 10,000 international students, which make up about 31% of the total community. So very global in terms of the student population, but also very global in terms of the faculty. We have about 42% international faculty on campus. In terms of our Pakistani students, we currently have over 40 students on campus. Majority of those students are studying master's programs, but as we're starting to engage more with the high schools, we are starting to get a lot more interest from our undergraduate students. We've got some famous alumni. Sorry, let me just move this across so I can see my own slide. We have over 300,000 alumni across the world. We have some famous alumni, including prime ministers, presidents, and 5 Nobel laureates. And then in terms of our colleges, we have 38 schools within the 6 colleges. In terms of our programs, we have about 70 bachelor's programs, some that are offered as joint majors. So within arts and humanities and social sciences, students have the option to do double majors or a major and a minor, which offers that flexibility that you often only see in the US. And we have about 300 master's programs. So everything from art, English, music, linguistics, archaeology, geography, philosophy, lots of ology, psychology, politics, social policy. Engineering is very popular in Pakistan. So we have most of the engineering programs: civil, electrical, electronical, mechanical, chemical. And just a note regarding our architecture program. So for our undergraduate architecture program, we do not, because most universities will expect a portfolio when you're submitting your application. But with our architecture program, students will prepare their portfolio in their first year. The College of Science is also really popular. We offer most of the life sciences, from biological sciences, chemistry, computer science, mathematics, and physics, and programs in sustainability as well. Within the Health College, the program that really stands out, and I'm sure some of you have seen it already, our most popular program is medicine. It is highly competitive, and we have limited places, but we do get overwhelms are usually straight A's. So we're looking at 3 A stars. Students must have biology and chemistry. So yes, very competitive, and it's always good to have additional kind of work experience or exposure to a clinical environment, shadowing a doctor or a nurse and doing some care in the community work as well. We also have the College of Business. We offer undergraduate and postgraduate programs. The master's programs are on a dedicated campus called Michael Smurfit, which is just outside of the main campus. And then just moving on to the entry requirements. So typically for our arts and humanities social sciences programs, they will usually have a low requirement around anywhere between 2 Bs and a C to 3 Cs, and then we go all the way up to 3 A stars, as I've mentioned already, for medicine, but typically for most of the science engineering programs, we would be looking for 2 A's and a B, or the equivalent if students are doing any other qualification. For master's students, we're usually looking for what we call a 2-1 equivalent. So usually we're looking at a GPA of around 3.0, but there will be some flexibility depending on which universities the students are graduating from. Our application system opens from October 1st. Our programs are open until July 15th, but because we have a scholarship deadline, which I'll talk about on the next slide, many of our students will apply well in advance of our scholarship deadlines. So we have a 31st March deadline for our UCD Global Excellence Scholarships. We have a really small number and very competitive again of 50% and 100% scholarships for undergraduate and postgraduate students, and you can apply online once you have an offer of a place for your program. And we also offer, just going to the top, tuition fee reduction for students who, let me give you an example, if you're predicted 2 A's and a B and your program requires 3 B's, and you can get anything from 2,000 euros up to 6,000 euros each year as a discount off the program. So I would really advise for anyone who's interested in obtaining a scholarship or applying before the deadline is to really apply before the January of the year you're wanting to join UCD. And then we also have the Government of Ireland scholarships, and they have a very early deadline, the 13th of March. When I was in Pakistan in February, I met so many postgraduate students who were banking on a Government of Ireland scholarship, but of course, they hadn't even yet submitted an application. So just a heads up to any of you on the call who are looking for a Government of Ireland scholarship for 2025, you do need to apply at least by January to give us enough time to process your application. Now, so in terms of accommodation, I mentioned in my first slide that we have on-campus accommodation. We have over 4,000 rooms on campus. We guarantee accommodation for our undergraduate students, and it's first come, first served for postgraduates. The cost, it varies depending on the type of room. Obviously, it's going to be more expensive if you're going for an apartment or en suite, but it ranges from 600 euros a month up to 1,200 euros. In terms of tuition fees, which I haven't mentioned as yet, but not to scare you, the medicine, I'm going to start with the highest, is, as you would expect, just under 60,000 euros per year. But our programs, arts and humanities, will start at around 22,000 before discount, going all the way up to 29,000 for the science programs. Now, pictures can tell 1,000 words, and I'm going to see now whether this link will take me to just a 1-minute video, because I know I'm already at 7 minutes. So let's see if this works. If not, I can share the presentation with you. There's just a 1-minute welcome from our international VP. So let's see if this works now. Can you hear this? You can't hear it?
No.
No. Okay. Let me just stop sharing. Bear with me. Let me just. Okay, no problem. I had to think that would happen, but I can share this afterwards and you can sit at your leisure. But that's pretty much a contact. I can share my contact details, and we have mea@ucd.ie. So drop us a message anytime, and we'd be more than happy to help. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for that, Nusrat. We have put the link to the video in the chat box.
Brilliant, thank you.
For everyone. And now handing the mic over to Owen.
Thank you, Shanza, and thank you, Nusra. And Dr. Afra, thank you for coordinating and arranging today. So is my screen showing on the screen?
Like if you go to the presentation mode, that would be better.
Okay.
Thank you.
3 modes open, no, because we were testing it earlier. Okay. One sec now. Okay, let's start again.
Yeah, it works.
Now, can you see full screen now? Yeah.
Yes, it works. Yeah.
Okay. Well, like I said, thank you to Shanza and the team at Ian Ivy for welcoming us today. My name's Owen. I'm the Commercial and Marketing Manager here at Independent College. And we are independent by name and by nature because we are the smallest college on the call today. And if you are looking to find us in Dublin, And if you drop a pin right into the center of Dublin, you will see, if that cursor is working on the screen, there's a very, very thin needle in the middle of Dublin called the Millennium Spire. And that's the middle of Dublin. And that was placed there in the year 2000 by the Irish government to commemorate the Millennium celebrations. So we're located right in the heart of Dublin City. And that means when a student attends with us, they're in the heart of the business, financial, cultural, entertainment and shopping district. Now that's important for a number of reasons, accessibility, of course, but also for internship programs, for part-time working, and most importantly, for post-graduation employment, okay? So we're based right in the heart of Dublin City. And there's only three things or three messages I'd like to leave you with today, or share with you today. One is when you attend and graduate from independent college, you will receive a degree or a postgrad that is globally accredited. As Nick said earlier, all our programs are underpinned and sanctioned by Quality Qualifications Ireland. No matter where you travel in the world, like Dr. Afra has done, your qualification from Ireland will be recognised everywhere. And that's a very important thing to bring with you. And a qualification from Ireland is particularly strong. As well as that, we're very fortunate in Ireland insofar as, I think, Mr. Mayor mentioned this, our unemployment rate is only 4%, okay? An economist will tell you, structurally, that means no unemployment, okay? So we are the home to almost 2,000 multinational companies who have their Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Asia headquarters here. All of those companies, they need international graduates with good business degrees and qualifications. Now, I say business because that's the other thing I meant to share. We are a business specialist college, okay? We provide business degree programs to undergraduate level, and also a very special Masters of Arts in Dispute Resolution, okay? Now, just to there's some very nice metrics or figures to share in terms of positioning Ireland in terms of business. Our population is only 5 million, but our economy is sized at $533 billion US GDP. When we look at Pakistan, where we were fortunate to visit just recently and receive such a lovely welcome, Pakistan's population is about 220 million, and it's a growing economy, but it's based on 340 billion, okay? So they're very, very significant scale here and business opportunities post-graduation. If we look at Apple computers, Steve Jobs came to Ireland in the early 70s, set up the first Apple factory anywhere in the world. They now employ 6,500 people in Ireland. Intel, making silicon wafers, IT, employ 7,500 people. Google, 5,500 people in Ireland. Accenture, 6,000 people. PwC are based very close to us here in Dublin, and their graduate recruitment team came to the college recently to talk to our students, and they told us that they employ over 450 graduates every year for their offices around Ireland, okay? So coming to Ireland, you will get global accreditation and amazing post-graduation employment opportunities, and I suppose most importantly post-COVID as well, very extremely competitive tuition fees, okay? So, in terms of our programs, we're very easy to summarize. We have 5 programs at the moment, 4 undergraduate, 3 years honours degree programs, Bachelors of Arts honours programs in accounting and finance, business studies and marketing. When you qualify and graduate with our accounting and finance degree, you will be entitled to apply for 9 ACCA exemptions, 8 CIMA cost management exemptions, and also be recognised by Certified Public Accountants Ireland and the Association of International Accountants. Okay. For those of you who are studying already and have a higher national diploma in a business qualification, you can come and join a 1-year Bachelor of Arts in International Business top-up programme, our BAIB. And postgraduate then, we have our very special Master of Arts in Dispute Resolution. Now, this image here on the last slide, that's the campus. We're a small campus, but we're 5 floors, purpose-built for education, located right in the heart of the city. The tuition fees for our bachelor's program, year 1, for our 3-year program is €6,800, which translates to about 2 million Pakistan rupee. because we're a smaller college with smaller overheads, etc., our fees tend to be correspondingly lower, and the focus is on the quality of the education and the pastoral care for the students. There's one other thing worth noting. When you're student, or when you, for year 2 and year 3 of your studies, because you're domiciled and living in Ireland, we treat you as Irish or European student, so we charge you the local rates for year 2 and year 3, okay? So the example there would be 6,800 year 1, and then local rates of 4,900 year 2 and year 3. So yeah, what else to say? We have 2 intakes every year, February and September. So we're now enrolling actively for September 24 and February 2025. In common with UCD and National College of Ireland, when you graduate with your bachelor's program, you get a 1-year stay back visa. With your master's program, a 2-year stay back, which entitles you to work in Ireland. And those who go on after then, while they're working in employment, often seek sponsorship from their employer to remain in Ireland longer, potentially. Okay. Business education English, yes, we are the largest English-speaking country in the EU, which is a big benefit, of course. And there's one other kind of surprise, our special offer, which is only just announced a couple of weeks ago by Jennifer, our admissions manager. For September enrollment, we're offering an extra 10% scholarship for the first 150 students who join our programs. So that's something we'd be pleased to discuss with you directly. I think those are all the key messages. We'll share our admissions details, both email and business WhatsApp. Will be on the screen. It's on the screen here at the end, but Shanza and the team will have that. We're open for enrollment for September. We'd be delighted to have more students from Pakistan. We had a number joined us in February of this year, so we're very pleased to say. Yeah, we look forward to seeing you here. So thank you, Shanza. Appreciate you giving us this opportunity.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Owen. I would like now to invite Michael Gavin from the National College of Ireland.
Thank you very much. I shall just share my screen. There we go. Hope you can see that. Hello there. My name is Michael Galvin. I am the regional manager here at the National College of Ireland, and I visited Pakistan for the very first time in 2023. Attended the Dawn Expo around the country in Karachi, Islamabad, Lahore, and had the good fortune to visit Karachi again in September last year, and then come out again with the rest of the Irish universities this year, and had a most wonderful experience there. So thank you very much for your wonderful hospitality, which I wasn't aware of before I went to Pakistan, but I am very much aware of now, and can't wait to go back there again for my next trip. People and food and everything is wonderful in the whole country, so well done there. And yeah, hopefully more people find out about Pakistan and the good merits it has in the future. I'm just going to give you a quick snapshot. I think everyone's touched on Ireland. Won't delve too much into the Irish story. This is our campus, one of our campus buildings. We have 2 buildings in the International Financial Services Centre in Ireland, in Dublin, the capital city. The Dublin is a small cultural capital, has about 1.5 million people, including the suburbs. So population-wise, as part of the whole country of Ireland, about 20% of the population are based in Dublin, around the capital city. It's safe and welcoming, speak English, good place for students to call home if they're going to come and study in Ireland. Seat of government, mostly the commercial and most of the big companies are based in Dublin. And quite a strong economy, as everyone else has mentioned, since we have a huge range of international companies, like Nick mentioned, very strong in European growth, a lot of technology companies there. I think Ireland's the second largest exporter for software, pharma companies, global financial companies, and good average graduate salaries, around 34,000 euros a year for graduates in Ireland. That's for undergraduates coming out. Some different programs will have higher graduate salaries, but your average graduate salary is around that per year in Ireland. We're located in Dublin, so Dublin is on the east coast, as Nick mentioned, you can drive across Ireland pretty quickly. We have a very good, strong road structure, road infrastructure, train network, etc. in Ireland, and also regional airports that people can fly to. But it's pretty well connected. This is a night map of Dublin city centre. It's split in two by the River Liffey. NCI, National College of Ireland, is located here in the International Financial Services Centre. So the IFSC, as it's known, on the right, on the left side of the river, has become an area known, which is now branded as the Silicon Docks. Why? Because you have Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, HubSpot, all have their European, Middle East, and African headquarters there. The IFSC, the International Financial Services Centre, has more than half of the world's leading financial services companies with a subsidiary in this area. You also have the likes of PwC, KPMG, having offices in this area. Ireland also is well known for aircraft leasing. So nearly all of the planes in the world that you see in the sky that have not been purchased are aircraft leased, and it's a very special purpose vehicle category, and Ireland has the talent space there. So some very high salaries paid in that area, and it's a good key thing to know about Ireland. So other than that, Dublin is known as the hedge fund capital of the world. So you've got all the trillions of dollars of assets under management and are managed and accounted for in Dublin and Ireland. So a lot of companies are based in Dublin, such as State Street, Boney Mellon, and you have a range of other big companies based there. And so they do employ a lot of accountants, legal people, marketing people, and other people professionals within the financial services sector. So National College of Ireland, we're established in 1951. We are a university level institution offering degree programs, that undergraduate degree and master's programs. We are private, but we're not for profit, but we also receive government funding. So we are unique in Ireland in that you have fully public, fully private, and we are private, but we're not for profit. And we have some good accreditations, such as 5 stars with QS in a number of categories. We're not gigantic, like UCD, the largest university in Ireland. We are smaller, and we offer specific programs in specific areas, and we do attract in good accreditation with industry, such as ACCA for our accounting programs, Psychology Society of Ireland for our psychology offering, and CIPD, we're very strong in human resource programs, such as BA and Masters, and they are all CIPD accredited. We do offer a range of scholarships. We have up to 40% scholarship on some programs, which are academic merit-based. And, you know, Dublin is the business capital of Europe, and so all of our programs link into industry and demands that they require for graduates. So why do students choose NCI? Well, we offer excellent career opportunities. 10 people in our careers office. They run a lot of jobs fairs, help students all the way through from CV preparation. They even help them with mock interviews, help them find the jobs, and keep in contact with them all the way through their careers. We offer career mentorship to students beyond graduation as they become alumni. We have a key location in the city centre in the IFSC, very close to all the companies, both for student graduate programs, internships, and also for offering for being able to attract in associate faculty. So we have full-time faculty, but we also have some faculty that are working in the surrounding area and come in and teach on some of our programs. We have a range of scholarships, good program choice. Our cost isn't too high compared to globally. And then some friends, family, alumni refer students into us as well. So some of these are household names that people know, and we have our graduates working in a range of roles in all these companies, among others. These are just a sample. Our career team is very strong. 96% graduate employability across all programs, won many awards, and as I said, they help students every step of the way. So I'll just give you a snapshot of our programs. We have 2 main schools. We have a smaller school of education as well, offering some programs for early childhood, but most of our programs are in business or computing. We have degrees and masters. Our masters are mostly 1-year master's programs, and degrees are either 3 years or 4 years for computing. In business, they're 3-year programs, can be increased by an extra year if students wish to do a full year paid internship in the middle. So range of undergrad programs and master's programs. So in computing, 2 computing undergraduate programs, computer science or data science. And a master's, we have some specific master's programs which are quite popular. For this upcoming September, like some of our programs are closed already, such as data analytics. We have back in 2011, our faculty created a Centre of Excellence for Cloud Computing, Data Analytics and FinTech in Dublin, and they had professors in Stanford, Cornell and Berkeley help design some of these programs, because Ireland was fast becoming known as Silicon Valley of Europe, and companies want to ensure that graduates coming out of programs had the same content as the graduates that were coming out of the university sector in America and into Silicon Valley. So pretty much most of the companies in Silicon Valley in America have a subsidiary in Dublin or Ireland. So some of our popular programs like BSc Honours in Computing is quite popular in Pakistan. It's a 4-year program, has a 6-month paid internship and a lot of good specializations. Data Analytics is probably one of our most popular programs at master's level. It's already full for September, but we do have a January intake as well. Counting, this is offered out to students who have from a non-cognate. You could do a degree in geography and you want to come in and switch into accounting. It's a 1-year master's, and after which you can get full exemptions from ACCA. Human resource management, just showing this because back in the 50s we were heavily into industrial relations, and now it's one of our stronger points as well on the HR side. AI is a relatively new area. Last 2 years it's obviously exploded. We have 2 masters, one in masters in artificial intelligence for computing or those with technical background, and we have another one for MSc in AI for business, which offers those who have at least 3 years work experience to apply AI in a strategic context. And it's a new program. It has a good scholarship attached to it as well. The higher diploma is conversion program into tech from a non-tech background as well. Undergraduate programs, our fee structure, you can see is 10,000 per year, and we have scholarships up to 2,000. The higher diploma has 4,000 scholarship, bring it down to about 8, similar to the undergrad. And for masters, we have academic merit scholarships of 2 or 4, depending on your GPA. Minimum GPA from Pakistan for most master's programs is 2.8, and if people have some slightly higher GPAs, they can get up to maximum of €4,000 scholarship available. So we have some sports scholarships as well, up to 30%. And we don't have an installment payment system. We require students to have their full fee for their first year or full fee for their master's program paid up before they apply for their visa. And we advise that all students have their visa applied for before the end of May if they're coming in for September intake. And we've seen this in the past as this having fixed dates for students for better success. We have close to 100 students on campus at the moment from Pakistan, just as a result of engaging quite well with the market in the last 2 years or so. So for undergraduate, we require A levels ranging from 3 C's to 2 B's and a C, depending on the program. There is other requirements for programs, but I won't necessarily go into too much detail here. So we've got support and well-being and careers, etc. I think I've ran over my time. So student journey, we do require students to apply through one of our educational agents in Pakistan, and the reason we do that is because the visa is not straightforward, requires a lot of steps, and we have trained specific educational agents on every step of our admission process and the visa process. And we do not use agents that are not up to date with all of our academics and the visa process. So we've very high success rate with visa over the last couple of intakes, and student applies to us, we will refer them to an educational partner close to us. And the reason we do that is because we can't handle students directly every time, and it just gives a bit of well, it's better for the students because they know that their visa is going to be handled in a more efficient manner, and it I'm not saying they can guarantee their visa, but the steps that the agent goes through will ensure a higher chance of success for their visa process. And that's what we do, and we train our agents in a strong manner, and we apply that same logic across the whole world, and it's worked very well for us at NCI. And so we have steps and dates for visas and application. There is still spaces available for September at undergraduate and postgrad across some programs. But I have my contact details there. I'm happy to answer questions at the end, and happy to link in and liaise with anybody if they have any questions into the future. So thanks very much, and sorry if I wandered over my time there.
No worries at all, Michael. Thank you so much for that. I do have some questions popping into the chat box for you with regard to scholarships, but we will hold on till till Dr. Afra has had a chance to speak. Her perspective is a little bit different because she herself is a Pakistani woman who went to Ireland to study. So we just wanted to give her experience a little bit for everybody who's here, and then we'll open it up for questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Shanze, and thanks everyone for their presentations. And thank you, and assalamu alaikum to all the participants. I will be very quick, I promise. Can everybody see my presentation, Sanjay? Is it okay? It's coming well? Yep. Okay. Okay. So I am Dr. Thank you. I am Dr. Afra Sajjad. I was born in Peshawar and raised in Gujranwala, and I've traveled the world. I have been to about 67 countries, but there are countries where I have lived and worked, and that includes Sri Lanka. I still remember how hot the curries were, but how warm the people were. Singapore, extremely clean. Malaysia, extremely diverse. Turkey, what do I say about it? UK, well, I lived in UK for more than 5 years, and I was lucky enough to live in an area called Kensington, which is just next, which is where the Prince of Wales also lives. Brazil, the beaches were beautiful. Rwanda, extremely resilient people. South Africa, I think I was humbled to visit the house of Nelson Mandela a number of times. UAE, we all know they're very creative. Poland, all that I remember, it was freezing cold. Russia, I think every time I visited the Red Square, I was like, it's just like a dream come true. Colombia, yeah, I have lived in Colombia also, and my mom was extremely scared that I would be kidnapped over there. So I've traveled the world, but where did it all start? It all did start from Dublin. And that's where I did my graduation and my PhD. So I was lucky enough to go to Dublin, and I think it has been 20 years now, almost, since I did my PhD. I think 20 years, yeah. And what do I remember of Dublin? I remember academically, all the people, all the university students that I interacted with the faculty, they were brilliant. And why would they not be? I think even today, 8, which is almost 40% of the Irish universities, they are among the top 1,000 QS world ranking. I remember the people. I think I've traveled the world, but the most warmest, the most hospitable people that I found were in Dublin. I usually joked, and it happens even now. I think I visited Dublin last year. If you were to ask direction from anybody in Dublin or anybody in Ireland, he or she would make sure they leave you over there. I remember stepping out of the bus, going to the university, coming back, and a man standing over there with my passport, because I dropped my passport over there, so careless I was. And he had stood there for 3 hours waiting for me to give me back that passport. That is how amazing the people are. I remember the culture. God, and I still remember, whatever understanding I have of Islam is because of the Irish people, because they would ask me so many questions and they were so much interested in my religion that I had to learn so much about my own religion. Housing, well, I know things have changed quite a lot in Dublin, but I was lucky enough to live and stay with an Irish family. They became my second family. They were extremely hospitable, and I've still remained in touch with them. I remember the food. Well, you cannot escape potatoes in Dublin, in Ireland. But Ireland has the most multicultural, the most diverse type of food range that can be found anywhere in the world. So if I was to summarize, I went to Dublin only because my father said so. I wanted to go to London. Well, I didn't want to leave Pakistan. Then I wanted to go to London, but my father said, go to Dublin. And I think he was right. He was right because Dublin was a place that enabled me to become the person that I am today. It taught me straightforwardness, honesty, empathy, understanding, sympathy, to be genuinely interested in other people and culture. And it made me the multicultural global person that I have become. I didn't mention that after Dublin City University, I worked at LUMS. Then I worked for an international organization. And now I'm an international consultant and I travel the world. But I owe it all to Dublin because it did teach me a few things that enabled me to be a global person. That is all that I have to say. If anybody wants to know more about Dublin or Ireland, happy to talk to you, happy to email you back. Thank you, Shanze, and I hand it back to Shanze, and she can take us to questions.
Thank you so much, everyone, the panelists, as well as our engaged audience, because I have been getting a lot of questions directly, and so has my IT team. Let me begin with the first one, and I will open this up to the panelists to answer as they see fit. Can students complete an undergraduate degree in pre-medical studies, biology, biochemistry in Ireland, and then pursue med school in the US?
I'm happy to take that one, Shanza. So a really good question. We have a slightly different system for studying medicine in Ireland versus the US. I know the US has this pre-med, study 4 years and then go into your med school, but it's a little bit different. In Ireland, you would go straight from high school into your 5-year or 6-year medical program. But for students who are looking specifically at the US, they could choose from, for example, at UCD, they could choose from any one of our life science programs, whether it's microbiology, chemistry, biochemistry, whichever program it is, complete that. And then it really depends on the university in the US. There's no reason why, given we are, as Nick mentioned earlier, universities are all fully accredited. We're a public university. The universities, there would be no reason why they wouldn't accept the 4-year degree program in Ireland for the medical program in the US. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you so much for that, Nusrat. I have a question from 2 different students on where they can get information on Trinity University, Dublin. Nick, is that something you can answer?
Yeah, that's so what we can do. And someone else actually is asking about TU Dublin as well. So we can share the contact points both in Trinity and also in TU Dublin with you, Shanza, for you to pass on to those students afterwards. And actually, what I might do as well is I can just drop them into the chat as well.
That would be great, everyone. And for the audience, we will be putting the contact information of our panelists along with the recording, so that if you want to, directly interact with them, you're more than welcome to do so. Saad did ask, will the university help with the visa application process like the US universities once the student is accepted? Maybe one of the college admission officers can just run us quickly through the process. I know that Owen has posted a link. But Owen, just generally, does the university help with this process? Is the student on their own? How would this work?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's why I probably dropped too many links in there. But at the same time, each one of these links is very useful and very important. So it would be worth saving, copying and pasting those links, I would suggest to everybody. There's two ways of the visa process to be managed. One is direct. The student would have the responsibility to make their application using the links and the instructions, which are all clearly explained on the links here on the website, the government websites. That would be a direct application. And many colleges, like Michael explained, prefer not to do that route, and they would suggest the second route, which is going to an approved agent. These agents would be a network of agents vetted by the colleges. Like, for example, Michael has been to Pakistan 4 or 5 times in the last couple of years. So it's a network of agents that will provide good advice to the student to help them with their visa application, and then their college application and their visa application. Okay, so there are 2 ways of doing this. Independent college, our process is we will take direct applications, but also we welcome applications through reputable agents, and we can recommend an agent or a group of agents to students who have worked with us successfully to get visas for students. Okay. So I suppose in the first instance, it's the responsibility of the student and their sponsor, and with the advice of counselors such as yourself and expert, advice it is, to be aware of what the process is. The colleges, universities will provide advice, but it depends. Each one is a slightly different process. So you can go direct or via an agent. I hope
I'm
that
happy to
helps.
jump in there as well, Owen, just
Yeah.
to give a very quick overview of what's required. As in most cases, the student's required to have their either full fee paid or an installment of usually about €6,000. Depends on the institution. But the majority thing that the visa is looking for is proof that the student and the sponsor of the student has sufficient funds to prove that the student will have access to those funds for their, not only for their current year, but any future years that they will be in Ireland. And they also are required to show and prove that they have funds or future funds to be able to pay for the students' future tuition fees. Now, this can be significant in some cases, and it is the terminology on the website, if the student's applying direct, will say something like ready funds and immediate funds, which isn't always exactly clear. Most of our students, to be honest, that come in from Pakistan are coming in for 1-year master's programs. It's way more straightforward. If you're coming in for a full degree program, what the immigration office does say, and I have seen things like this, is that if you're coming in for a 3-year program, you have to be able to show the future fees for the future years and the future living expenses, either in your current or savings account, or be able to show the future flow of those funds coming in, and it has to be kind of nearly immediately evident. You can't use loans, and it must be have significant funds. So it's not straightforward, and if you are applying on your own, it's a bit of a roll of the dice, to be honest, unless you're significantly wealthy and you don't mind explaining your every single lump sum in your 6-month bank statement. So it is advised to use an expert to apply for a visa to Ireland if you want successful outcome. That's what I would advise students. But there's probably about 35 to 40 things that they have to get right. If they get one of them wrong, they get rejected. So it's a very sensitive thing to do. And sometimes people will know somebody in Ireland and they might advise them that it's easy, but it's not. So we do advise that they take the advice. If you're going to spend the significant funds of going abroad, you want to get your visa approved. So, because this process in Ireland takes about 8 weeks maximum usually for a visa to be processed. However, if you get something wrong or leave something out, they won't write to you and say it's missing. They'll reject your visa, and they might decide that because you haven't given them all the information, they'll give you a 3-page rejection in the hope that you won't appeal it. And unfortunately, if you do appeal it, fortunately, because it has to go back to Dublin, it could take up to 6 months. So it can unfortunately take longer. Now, Irish Embassy is opening a new embassy in Islamabad this year in June, and there is currently 2 staff in Islamabad from Ireland, and the Irish ambassador has already been made aware, and I think she is starting there in June. And at some stage in the future, they will hopefully set up a visa office there, and it'll make things more efficient. But for the moment, we advise that you find a suitably qualified expert to help you get through the visa process.
No, thank you so much for that, Michael. That was news for me as well. And I think some students would be thinking if afterwards, perhaps you can share if you have recommended visa advisors, please let us know, because that would be the next step of this process, because I'm sure students are interested. I do have another question for you, Michael, from a student. She had put in the chat to me, and you would answer the question: what is the scholarship criteria for NCI and how much aid do they give? She wasn't sure that she heard you correctly when you said that NCI gives up till £40,000. Could you just clarify your scholarship criteria and aid for the student? I don't think she has it right.
No, it wasn't 40. Well, we work with euros anyway, but I
Sorry,
said
euro.
up to 40% on some programs. So we have some scholarships at undergraduate level for BSc Data Science that offers up to 40% off the €10,000 on an annual basis. Our rest of our scholarships are academic merit based. For a degree, we do offer up to 2,000 scholarship for all international students on undergraduate programs per year. So it brings our net fee down to €8,000 per year. And for master's programs, most scholarships are done on academic merit based of either you have a second class lower honors or second class upper honors. So if your GPA in Pakistan is like 2.8, you will receive the lower amount. And if your GPA is above 3.1, you can receive up to €4,000. So they're the scholarships recap there. No, we don't offer financial aid. There's no student loan system in Ireland, and I'm not aware of any financial aid programs within any universities in Ireland either.
My next question is, does an EU student need to have a domicile in Ireland in order to qualify for the EU student fee structure? Who would like to take that one?
I can take that one.
No, go for it.
So basically there are, and maybe if I get this wrong, the universities will correct me. But generally, a student would need to have spent time in primary education in their European passport country in Ireland, or else have spent 3 of the last 5 years in European education. And then also the parent would need to be tax resident in Ireland or EU country in order to benefit from the EU rates for that passport. I think that's correct. Is that correct, Michael? Nusrat?
Yeah, it's usually 3 of the last 5 years is what they're looking at for the student.
So generally, unfortunately, just having a European passport will not qualify you for EU rates, but the
good thing is they won't need a visa to come. So we often come across EU passport holders or Irish passport holders across Middle East and Africa. For parents might have moved out there, or else they picked them up on a grandfather sort of scheme where the grandfather was originally from Ireland. You have to have been here. The reason why maybe fees are slightly reduced in Ireland is, yes, the government takes from the taxes that we contribute out of our income, etc. They help fund the education sector. I think it was back in the mid-90s that the government introduced free education for university students for Irish citizens. And since then, I think about 60% of the population has a degree in Ireland. So it's a very highly educated, smart economy. And yes, a lot of companies there, we all pay tax, and the government, wanted to have free education. So the higher the education pool was a tool used to attract in big companies as well. But yeah, EU passport, fantastic. You won't need a visa to come to Ireland, and unrestricted by visa movement, so you can move freely around the EU and Ireland, but you will not be eligible for the Irish or EU fees until you've spent at least 3 years here.
Thank you so much for that. I have a question from Muhammad Abdullah. Is it possible to get 100% scholarship? I believe from Nusrat's presentation, I did see 50 and 100%. They're competitive, of course. Nusrat, if you can comment on that, and then if other universities could comment on, is this something that other universities offer as well? I'm sure they're very, very competitive, but
Sure. Just to give you an idea of the number of scholarships we have at 100%, for postgraduate students, we will have 2 each year. That's for all students across the entire Middle East, Africa, and Pakistan region, and we have 2 for undergraduate, and we'll have the same number of 50% scholarships. So when I say they're competitive, they're extremely competitive. We get hundreds and hundreds of applications. The first filter will always be the GPA, but we will also take into consideration other factors. And we know in Pakistan, with the currency crisis and the plummeting exchange rate, we will take that into consideration. We will look at the overall strength of the application. And really it's competitive, you know, where we have 50, I'm actually doing a scholarship committee meeting tomorrow where we're going to pitch, you know, a short list of 30 undergraduate scholarships, and we're going to walk away with 4. So each of the colleges will pitch as well. Each will be fighting to have 1 or 2 of their students for their college to be accepted. And it really is about overall on the day agreeing on academic background, strongest application, and financial need. So they're the 3 factors that we would consider.
And if anybody could comment on, is this similar across to other Irish universities? A handful of merit scholarships, or?
Well, yeah, it varies from university and college to college. I put in a link in the chat box there for the Go IES scholarship, which is the Government of Ireland International Education Scholarship. And these are 60 scholarships available across all the HEIs in Ireland. And this is given by the Government of Ireland, plus the college is waiving fees. And these are for students who are applying for a master's or PhD program. Okay, so all the information is in the link there. As Nusra mentioned, the 2024 version is complete now for this September. However, maybe many of the people or students on this call might be interested in 2025. And if they're applying for a master's or PhD in any of the Irish institutions, they certainly should apply to receive one potentially at one of the 60 places. And in that case, the college university waives the fees, and the Government of Ireland provides a €10,000 stipend to support the student. That's probably the most comprehensive scholarship program available, but then each college has different individual scholarships depending on their policies. For example, in our case, it's kind of a straightforward 10% off fees for the first 150 students applying for September. Okay, so students could save between 880 or 680 to 880 euros by facilitating or taking part in that. Okay.
Thank you so much for that, Owen. Just a short follow-up for the master's and PhD scholarships that you mentioned. Does a Pakistani student need to go through the HEC, or they can go to the direct website and apply?
It's all on that link there. The call is closed now, but when the call is open, typically a student applies after they're accepted into the program in whichever college or university, and then they make their application for that program then.
Sure. We've gone over time, but I have, I think, 2 important questions. It'll go in the recording, so I think it'll be useful for our students later. The undergraduate students are asking, can they apply to Irish universities via the UCAS system, or would it be direct applications?
It's direct. Yeah.
And I have a specific question on A-levels. If a student applies to Irish university right after their A-levels in Pakistan, is it similar to the UK system or to the US system? And would the degree be recognized in Pakistan?
Yeah, it's absolutely recognized, and it's very similar to the UK system. It would be direct entry into year 1. And we would require, for most programs, 3 full A-levels.
Sorry, one last question before I let everyone go. Does the Irish system allow students to double major or minor?
For some programs, so within our Arts and Humanities College and Social Sciences, we have a number of programs where they have the options to do a double major, or they can do a major and a minor. So specifically, it's for our Arts and Humanities and Social Sciences programs at UCD.
Yeah, I know this one because my daughter is doing a BSc in Sociology and Economics at UCD. So she's doing that double major.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's a good system, yeah.
And I will just end it on a last question. which I think is useful for all students to know. What is the typical profile of a successful applicant to a medical program? Are you paying attention primarily on grades, or does a student's extracurricular profile, and this would be in general, I would ask any university representative to answer this, how much weightage is there on grades versus extracurriculars, just generally in Ireland?
I think if I just take the medicine part first, because I think medicine is different to many of the other programs, we are looking at extracurricular 50% extracurricular, 50% academic grades, because it is a program where students are doing clinical placements pretty much from the first year. So they have to have that level of confidence. If we take a student with 3 A stars, 5 A stars even, academically brilliant, but they just don't have the confidence to be able to deal with patients or do practical work, you know, in a different country, then it's just not going to work. It's not good for both sides. So we would encourage students at least 18 months before the application to start getting that experience. If they know someone who works in a hospital or a doctor, just start doing some work shadowing, doing some care in the community work, because it's not all about grades. I've met students throughout the world who are applying for the September entry, and they're asking me in January, you know, how many weeks of experience do they need? And it's just not the right approach. You have to, it's kind of in your DNA, you know, you want to be a doctor from quite an early age, and you're working towards that journey. So for medicine, very different profile to many of the other programs.
Very, very interesting.
Just to add briefly,
just comment on general overall, Owen?
Well, general overall, to enter an undergraduate program, you need your grades and you need your English level, IELTS 6 or equivalent. However, when you're talking about the visa process, that's an important element here. You need to illustrate very clearly to the visa officer in your application your motivation for coming to study computer science in National College of Ireland or business studies in Independent College, for example. You must link it to the subjects you've studied in school or graduated in already. You must show a kind of coherent, logical pathway there, okay? So that question of motivation is very important, more so from the visa application process, to show an actual, you know, genuine reason and a study pathway to come to do the degrees here. Okay, the actual motivation then becomes more important again for the master's programs, with the personal letter that must accompany a master's application. Again, that must be very specific and very detailed in terms of why are you motivated to do that master's program? What is it about the Masters of Arts in Dispute Resolution in Independent College that appeals to you, and why does that support, you know, your career pathway or your vocation in that area, as it would if you're doing an AI in NCI. So typically it's in those areas. The extracurriculars are quite important, and being specific about your motivation and why Ireland is the place, and that'll help with success.
Shanzi, can we wrap up, because some of the participants need to go for other meetings?
Absolutely.
Sorry about it.
Thank you so much to all the panelists for taking out the time and honoring us with their presence today. This session was extremely helpful, and as can be seen by the number of questions which are still pouring in, hopefully we can have another follow-up session after a few months and later down this year, where, you know, we can do justice to all of our different panelists as well. Thank you so much once again. We will share your contact information with your permission with the audience, so that if anybody has specific questions, they may come back to you. And thank you, everybody. And thank you to our wonderful audience for staying back so late.
Thanks, Shanzi.
Thank you so much.
Everybody.
Thank you, Shanzi. Thank you,
Cheerio.
everyone. Thank
Have
you.
a nice evening.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheerio. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.